Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Greetings, beloved beings of light. Hope this video finds you well, in good health, good spirits, and positive energies. The following teachings and presentation and Dharma talk is a special transmission for this coming solar eclipse in Aries, April 8th. Due to the controversial nature of the following teaching, I contemplated only releasing this video to our tribe on Patreon and YouTube memberships, but on the special occasion of this total eclipse, I'm going to throw all caution to the wind, release it to the public, and just let the cards fall where they lie. So you see the following teaching is going to reveal how many people in humanity, some with good intentions, may have been cursing humanity based on words, based on frequencies, unbeknownst to most of them. So I know the information, the knowledge, it's going to be very controversial what we release. But as most of you know at this point, most of what have been propagandized, the propaganda and the false teachings, most things that are forced upon humanity are lies. You see, we're going to reveal this based on linguistics, based on etymology, the study of language, the study of words. How words have evolved over time. Most words have been transformed or have lost their true meaning. So this is what we're going to reveal in this video and help shift the consciousness to the best of our ability to use words to uplift, to elevate. You see, words can be used to raise energy up, to elevate, to enhance, to inspire, or words can be used to destroy, to harm, to attack. We say that curses, the curses is ill intent. When ill intent or nefarious perception, nefarious projections, we might say, are projected upon humanity. This is like part of the interference. And it could be technologies, or it could be information, or it could be lies and propaganda, which we know many nefarious organizations around this world have been using. Propaganda, dogma, all these false teachings. We see this through governments, through religions, through politics, through the media, the television, telling lies to our people using MK Ultra techniques, mind control techniques to indoctrinate in false teachings, false beliefs. And this is, as New Earth teachers, we're here to expose, to reveal through this revelation these lies. And that's what I hope part of this presentation. It's just a very small tip of the iceberg of what has been going on in this realm over the last couple thousand years at least. So this is to enlighten, to inspire, and to educate. This is to re-educate our people of the new earth on truth, true teachings of Gnosis, we say, of knowledge. So we'll get to it. We're going to start in front of the whiteboard with some teachings, and then I'll take you out to the woods. Some of our people they enjoy the whiteboard teachings. Some enjoy our nature talk. So we're going to mix the two together for this very special occasion of this eclipse season, this very fiery total solar eclipse in Aries. So we're going to feel the fire burning from within. We're feeling these initiations and activations. So we'll begin in front of the whiteboard, and then after that, I'll take you out to a very special sacred portal in Gaia, out in nature, for a Dharma talk, a special transmission. And we are joined by the Owl Nation. So it's very powerful owl medicine. So I hope you enjoy this presentation. We hope that you have the most beautiful, auspicious, sacred, and powerful solar eclipse in Aries activation on April 8th. The eagle and the condor send you so much love, blessings, and bliss in the light. Namaste. Namaste, beloved beings of light. Hope your day is most beautiful and blessed. This is going to be one of my last videos before this powerful total eclipse. I want to give you all a lesson today of knowledge, of Gnosis, of history, of language, linguistics. Be sure to stick around after this special whiteboard presentation. I'm going to transmit some powerful energies in a sacred portal that I filmed yesterday. And we have the Owl Medicine, the Owl Nation was with us for this powerful transmission. You see, I want to do one last very special video for all our people that have supported us over the years, and for this very special total solar eclipse coming up on Monday, April 8th. You see, it was brought to our attention today that CERN, you know, the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland and France over there in Europe, they're going to be firing up this bad boy on the eclipse. So just another one of the dark one's nefarious tactics to keep our people down. So I put out a post today that no matter what they throw at us, no matter what they try, they're going to fail. You know, because victory is always of the light. So I want to put out a special, video for you for this coming eclipse, and to help inspire you and lift your spirit and teach you some Gnosis. Some of our people still like these whiteboard presentations. So this is for all of you and all of you that support us in our work. You see, that hearing about this nonsense, that it got me fired up. They're going to fire up their technology. I'm firing up mine with the knowledge. You know, you fight fire with fire. You know, but all kidding aside, you know, knowledge is power. Truth is power. So you see, they want you, the nefarious ones. By they, I'm talking about the dark ones. I put in quotes, the controllers. You know, they think they're in control, but they're really not. You know, they're just ignorant beings that are propagating fear and separation, division. So we're all here, you know, as teachers of the new earth, to educate our people in the truth, and to inspire our people to put the word out, the good word, you know, the true teachings of the Gnosis of all our religions. You see how we battle against these dark, nefarious beings. I say the ignorant ones. I don't even use evil, because that's their word. You know, evil exists only in the mind of man. It's man's belief in this concept of evil. Obviously, people, I'm not saying evil doesn't exist, but it's because of people worshiping nefarious things that it keeps these evil actions propagated amongst humanity. So we deal with this nihilism. You see, nihilism is destroying morality, destroying the true teachings of religion. You see, they want people to be immoral. They want people to be have no integrity, these things. So we deal with this by teaching the truth. So part of this lesson today, you see, my queen and I were very much into linguistics and etymology. You see, linguistics is more the studying of languages. You see, we study many languages. She's pretty fluent, my sacred condor, in Spanish, and we learned some French and some other languages. I trained in Chinese and Spanish, several languages. I'm not fluent in any of these, full disclosure, but I understand, you know, these languages, these words. Chinese I took over 30 years ago. I used to be able to read and write over 100 Chinese characters, but again, what you don't use, you lose, you know. So today I can't tell you one Chinese character. So the linguistics study of languages, you see, Terence McKenna would teach that all culture is a fossilization of language. So it's very important to understand languages. Etymology is more of the the history and the evolution of words, you know. So it's that's also very interesting. You see, my Queen and I have very long discussions about these things because it's part of understanding. You see, it's very critical to understand the mind, understand the world, understand each other. That's part of building healthy relationships, understanding where we all come from, you know, how we all feel, understanding, you know, the needs of your partner, your divine counterparts, all these things. And communication is key. You know, communicating what you're feeling, how you're feeling, why you think the things you do. It's very important. So we're going to start with a very important concept. You see, I'm not here to destroy religions. I'm here to teach people about the true religion, the connection to God's source. You see, and over the years, many of these concepts projected upon me, you know, as coming from ignorant people, you know, pushing lies and propaganda. So I'm going to talk about a very important concept, because many people are out there cursing us, myself, my people, and the world with false concepts and negative energies. You see, negative thoughts and feelings. You know, energy itself is neutral, but you can do good things with energy, you could do bad things. You see, the matrix itself is neutral. You know, there's great beauty in this world, and there's great sordidness. There's, you know, nefarious things, we say. So we're going to start with one concept. And if you really want to understand history, it's very important to study some of the works of the greatest minds. One of the greatest geniuses in the world today that's still alive, that's teaching, one of the greatest historians that ever walked on this planet, in my opinion, his name is Anatoly Fomenko. Anatoly Fomenko, he has 2 PhDs one PhD in mathematics, another PhD in physics. He's a Russian man, and he's written many, many books. And he's also, I'm sure, he's a professor, mathematician, professor, born March 13th, 1945. He's 79 years old. So Anatoly Fomenko. So a lot of these teachings, and okay, this marker's not working. Let's try this one. There we go. Anatoly. He's Russian. Anatoly Fomenko. Just got to make sure I got the spelling right here. Fomenko. F-O-M-E-N-K-O. See, Anatoly Fomenko is a great man of great knowledge. I'll put a link to some of his books in the description below to Amazon. We get a small little commission if you click on that link and purchase. If you really want to study some of these concepts, I'm going to be talking about multiple things, but it's going to evolve around some of his teachings. He wrote, I believe there's a series of 10 books called History, Fact, Fiction or Science. History, fiction or science. See, we see like a lot of what we think are true history is just stories, fables, myths, you know. So we try not to take, especially religious doctrine is too literal, you know. They mix fiction with history or science. You know, there's science encoded within these ancient books. Now I'm going to start with the New Testament. Now there's many scholars in this world that believe that, like religious scholars, people that are unbiased, of course. You know, when we put bias in there, it warps our, you know, understanding and knowledge. So we try to keep an open mind and open heart. You see, there's many scholars that believe that the New Testament is actually older than the Old Testament. That's how they trick you. They call something old, you think it's older, you call something new, and then they have people that put out information that might be false teachers or whatnot to confuse and to warp the truth, to warp reality. So this particular book, you actually, it's free on Google Books. So you can read this on, if you just type in Anatoly Fomenko, history, fiction, or science, you can read his I believe this is 562 pages, so there's 10 volumes and he references on every page. But what is very interesting in these books, you know, some people ask me, you know, and this is for our Christian people out there, you know, this is a little less lesson in the history of Christianity. You see, that some people ask me, why don't I call the master teacher of Christianity Jesus Christ? Why do I say IESUS Christos? Because I believe that's the true name. And Anatoly goes into depth how they converted the I to a J in this book, and what, you know, it was like a curse upon the consciousness of man, and why this sacred word IESUS, when they converted, see, IESUS. You see, I have many friends that are Greek. Well, one thing you need to understand about me, brothers and sisters, especially if you're new to this channel, I've talked to thousands and thousands of people since I was a child. I've been in this realm 51 years, and I've always been a person of knowledge. I've always strove to learn, to understand. I've trained with many masters, you know, I trained in the temples, the monastery, Zen masters, Taoist masters. I've studied the ancient Christian, you know, I have altars, and everywhere I live to honor all these spiritual traditions, because I care about them all, and I care about all of you, and this is why I teach. You know, this is why I put out the daily transmissions, as a place to create sacred space for all of you to expand and to grow through. We have some weird lighting going on here, but that's okay, because it's the information that's important. So I want you to understand the ancient languages. You see, this is Greek. Why it was the New Testament, the oldest, one of the oldest written versions that we know of the New Testament. Why was it written in Greek? And who put the New Testament together? These are things, everything I talk about, you can just Google. You know, do a search. Is Paul making this stuff up? You know, ask Siri, or, you know, whatever, Chat GPT. You know, they'll tell you. You know, that Paul's not lying. No. So over the years, and I've read thousands of books too. I started reading as a young child, as far back as I can remember, while I was still in diapers. I just always knew how it was something that was a natural thing. And, you know, at 6 years, 7 years old in school, elementary school, my teacher recruited me to be a tutor for the other kids, because I was way more advanced at that time. I've gone back, you know, I've repressed over the years, but when I was a child, I was very brilliant. Now I'm just Heoka, you know, the sacred clown. So I would teach other kids how to read, 6, 7, then in school I was always reading. By the time I was 12, you know, I'm 13, you know, I've read hundreds of books, and up to now thousands from many different genres and niches. And so the IESUS, and I have many Greek friends. You know, the last woman I was with before my sacred condor, she was half Greek, half Irish, you know, and so the Greeks love it when I say IESUS, you know. Two of my best friends, my closest friends that are on the other side now, George and Tina, they were her aunt and uncle. George and Tina Kesodonis. So I've had many friends that were Greek. So I know some Greek, not a lot, but I know how to pronounce the words most of the time. Of course, I don't speak Greek fluently, but in the Greek language, you know, I is E, like the E sound, just like it is in the Mayan, just like it is in Arabic. So the I is the E sound. So that's why when I say, you know, in English, we'd say K-I-N, it's kin. In Mayan, it's keen. You know, that's why I say keen. Some people say, oh, you must be mispronouncing. No, in the Mayan, in the Yucatan, the peninsula, you know, the Mayans, I is E. So I was always E. E is A. IESUS, just like in the Mayan, just like in some other languages, Greek, IESUS, you know, so So just like, B-E-N in Mayan, in English it's Ben, but it's Bane in Mayan. So we had the IESUS. And one thing that's very important here, and what does IESUS mean? It's been translated in many different ways, but some people say a child, the Son of God. Some people would say, translating it, I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong, but they might say the son of Zeus, the IESUS, because they come from the same root words. And I know a lot of words we say, because some people say, why is IESUS? Some people say Yeshua, because what people do, they try to reverse engineer languages. That's what I call it, reverse engineering. Like in engineers, but because language is a philosophy, it's a study, it's an art all into itself. So and as we all know, history is very convoluted, very complex. So what I teach is just keep an open mind. We're always expanding in consciousness. We're always learning. Things are always changing. But most people don't even know the basics, the very basics. So we got to start at the fundamentals, the root, and then expand out from there. So IESUS Christos. Now, one of my closest buddies from Romania. So the Romanians. So these came from the New Testament, the Roman Empire. The Romania came out of the Roman Empire. So my buddy's very fluent in multiple languages, and we've had hours and hours of conversations about things like this. He's the one that turned me on to Anatoly Fomenko. He's one of my genius buddies, my buddy Jonel. We say Jonel, Mandresh, or Boljonik. Boljonik is Romanian. Our good Romanian people. We love our Romanians. He was born close to Transylvania. One of my students, one of the Divine 44 that trained with me, she was born in Transylvania. Now, last time we spoke, she was living up in Canada. I just ran into a Romanian woman a few days ago at one of our children's school where he trains in a martial arts, and she was from Romania. We had a very interesting conversation. Our Romanian people are great people. We have great people in every nation. We love all our people. So he would say, Christos meant like elevated. Even now they say the Christ is that someone's upstairs, the higher, this higher realm. So this is the child of Creator, the child of God, the child of Source, So just like in Arabic, I just want to cover languages, So we don't say, people here say Iraq. It's Iraq, and they roll the R a little bit. Iraq. I've had many Arabic friends too over the years. One of my neighbors for many, many years, and a good friend, was a Palestinian. He grew up in Jordan. This was after, the Balfour Agreement, after Israel was created. And Israel, let's talk about Israel, because that word comes from ancient Egypt. You see, Isra, Ra, El. You see, it's 3 syllables, Israel. And ISIS, or ISIS, we say ISIS, but it's IESUS, just like Jesus. But ISIS, or IESUS is, the pagan god of the moon, Isis, the moon. You see, that's why, these are the 3 main religions of the Caucasus. The Caucasus, when people say Caucasian, if you look up the original meaning of that word, Caucasian, it was people that came from the Caucasus region, which current today, at the time where people were labeling people by the region they lived, there was Congoid, Congo, which was Africa, there was the Caucasus, and there was Mongolia, the 3 main regions of that time when people were, categorizing people, and now they say races, which that's one thing I also educate people on, is there's one race, the human race. Just because someone's skin color different or the beliefs different doesn't make them a different race. And And we can get into that discussion another day, and why, why they created these different categories, of these, what people call races. This lighting's getting very crazy in here. Let me close this curtain for a minute. So let's talk about Israel. ISIS, these are the three religions, ISIS, Ra, and El. So ISIS, Israel, Ra, the sun, and El, Saturn. Like Ra, they said the god Ra. That's why the sun god, that's the Soalr, it's the sun. That's why even in the New Testament, a lot of symbolism of the sun, especially, these astrological symbolism. So like Santos Bonacci teaches astrobiology, because you see that symbolism. These people put together multiple religions, and by these people, I mean, people now say the council of nice, but the ancient word, I'm sure this would be something more like Nietzsche, but now people say nice or Nicaean, but it was Nietzschean, or Nietzsche, I'm sure. I don't know for a fact, but if I would try to, by the ancient languages, it would probably be more like Nietzsche or Nice or Nietzschean. But people say Nicaean, or the Council of Nice. And who were these? This was under the Roman Empire. But the true name of the Roman Empire, and this I learned from my Romanian Brothor, the Roman Empire was called Saturnalia, because just like the Jewish nation, it's the worship of Saturn. That's why, see, El, like Elohim, El Shaddai, El was another name for Saturn. So we have Isis, the moon. That's why pagans worship on Moon Day, on Monday. Christians, Sunday, worshiping the sun. Jewish, Saturn Day, Saturday. It's all coming together, right? It's all making sense. The First Council of Nicaea was a council of Christian bishops convened in Bithynia, city of Nicaea, in now Iznik, Turkey, by the Roman Emperor Constantine I. The Council of Nicaea first met from May until the end of July 325. This ecumenical council was the first of many efforts to attain consensus in the Church through an assembly representing all Christendom. Hosius of Corduba may have presided over its deliberations. Its main accomplishments were settlement of the Christological issue of the divine nature of God the Son and his relationship to God the Father. They were also responsible for compiling and deciding which text ended up in the New Testament Bible. So we have the Roman Empire. See, the intelligentsia, they called the intelligentsia, which were the people of knowledge, the Gnostics. You see, the Gnosis. I've also read parts of the Nag Hammadi. I always had at home on my altar, the Nag Hammadi, because this is where the concept, that was ancient Christian, Coptic. The Coptics were of Egypt, the ancient Egypt. That was the Coptic, Coptic Christians, were a lot of this Gnosicism. See, Gnosis, Gnosis, means knowledge, and a Gnostic was a person of knowledge. So the Gnosis, the library of Nag Hammadi, that's where the concept of archons came from. Now the archons were, we can get into a whole story. We all know about the archons here, which people are like the nefarious beings, but they're more like the prison guards. They keep this simulation going long enough for consciousness to evolve. And yes, these things do feed on our energy. These things keep the thing going, but ultimately our highest self created these lower beings to create this simulated reality. That it's not a bad thing in a sense. Obviously a lot of bad things happen here, a lot of traumatic things, a lot of suffering in this world. We all know about it. We've all been through great suffering. That's what brought us here today, and that's what we build courage from to transcend all the suffering, and the teachings of the Buddha is to free yourself from samsara. So I teach all these things through this channel and our Patreon page, which is whitegoldeagle.com. And so the Nicene Council, these were the intelligentsia of the Romans, that came together, and they said, we need to create a new religion, a new philosophy, and we'll put together, we'll compile these teachings. And they were trying to create, a unified, like a unity, a united religion that would appeal to all, because this was like a hub of different nations were coming to Rome, this empire. So the Nicene Council put together, which the Catholic religion came out of this, but ancient Christianity came, the New Testament was compiled. And what they did, what the intelligentsia did, the true teachings were encoded within these books, just like the Hebrew, the Old Testament and the Hebrew, because these ancient languages, we have something called gematria. Gematria is numbers, the numbers behind each letter. So these ancient languages, each letter was a number, and you didn't understand the hidden meaning behind these teachings until you translated the letters, just like alpha, the A is 1, beta, and that's in Greek, alpha to omega, the beginning, the end, and we're seeing that aleph and tov, in the Tao, in the Hebrew, 1, the beginning, the end. We have that X that the solar eclipses are going to create over North America, and the X equals 10, the 1 and the 0. Beginning and end, alpha, omega. So this is the reboot, this is the catalyst for the new earth. So what's interesting, the 1, 0, the 1 masculine, 0 feminine, you see we'll create it in a gram, the hexagrams from the I Ching. This is 1, this is 0. You see a solid line 1, broken line 0. See the 1 into the 0, the masculine, this is masculine, we say yang, and this is feminine, yin. Yin, yang, positive, negative. So it doesn't mean good or bad, right or wrong. It's just positive polarity, negative. That you can think positive ascension, negative descension. You can't ascend if you don't descend. You can't descend if one cannot exist without the other. That's why in Buddhism, the Heart Sutra of Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, clearly saw that the 5 skandhas are empty. So the mind intrinsically is empty. So from the emptiness from form emptiness. But one cannot exist without the other. You can't have form without emptiness. You cannot have emptiness without form. That's just the way of duality. I didn't make up the rules, We're just looking at, trying to understand this matrix we're living in. So the Council of Nice, the Nicene, or the Nietzsche, the Council of Nietzsche, was compiled the New Testament. And the original, before the letter J was invented by a Roman person, the letter I was converted to a J, and that's when everything changed, about 400 years ago. You see, they put the curve, that's the curse. The curve under the I, and what happened at that point. Anatoly Fomenko explains it into great detail. Oopsie, my little platform here is moving. So what they did, the I, you see the ancients, since the New Testament and the Nicene Council, they also created calendars. You see, to be a good historian, you have to understand calendars. And Fomenko is a master of this, understanding calendars. He's studied them all, and realized that our time has been manipulated. They manipulated time when they changed the I to a J, from IESUS to Jesus. You see, just say the word, because there's a power, there's a beauty to vowels. You see, the ancient languages didn't have any vowels. You see, so say with me, IESUS, instead of Jesus, and feel the energy. What rises up when you say Jesus? What rises up when you say IESUS? IESUS. IESUS. You see, the vowels are sacred because you can hit overtones like that's why Latin, a lot of vowels in Latin, because they would chant, the Gregorian monks would chant and then hit these octaves and overtones and have spiritual experiences. It activates the pineal gland, it activates your heart center. You'll feel it rise up. I feel the energy flowing through my body once I started chanting the vowels. That's why you see these vowels. So, IESUS. So what they did, in the ancient teachings of the Caucasus, of Saturnalia, they would say, we say BC or AD. BC standing for before Christ, and AD stands for Anno Domini, which is Latin for in the year of the Lord. In the year of IESUS. So that one, or that I, it would be I, but you'll see what happened here. Okay, the camera stopped here. Let's get back to it. It only lets me record for 30 minutes. So in the year of one, I would say IESUS 1. Then say year 11, be IESUS 11. So it'd be in the time of IESUS, when IESUS was first written, was first talked about, was first taught about. It was the year 1. And what happened in time, you see this I became a J, and it threw all the calendars off, it threw time off. And I'm not going to get too in depth. I want to keep this video under an hour, and then I'll take you to the woods and give you a beautiful experience of nature and the sounds and the beauty of the trees and the mosses. So the I in time, they converted this I to a J, and then it was J11. So you see what happens when they misconstrued this. They saw, say it was carved in stone. They took this, they say in the time of Jesus. So it went from 111 to 11. So it threw it off by at least 100 years. So we say, so 400 years ago is when this confusion came in, which threw off all our calendars and time itself, these timelines. So now people, you see, they put the U, they created this letter J. And who do I believe? After many, many hours, many, many years of researching this, I've never heard it said or anywhere, if you know of, or anyone's teaching this, where this conversion happened, leave it in the comments below. But this might be the first time, it's probably the first time you'll ever hear it. But we say the Jesuits, because what happened 400 years ago in, we call Italy now, Italy in this Roman area, the ancient Caucasus, is that they created, the Catholic Church created this branch, we could say, the branch of Catholicism or Christianity, the Jesuits. You see, and that there's no coincidence. I know correlation does not necessarily mean causation, but a lot of times it does. So sometimes we correlate coincidences or connect the dots. We might say, see, the Jesuits 400 years ago, around 400 years ago, not exact as when Jesuits was created, the letter J was invented. Just look up, Google search, how old is the letter J? When was the letter J invented? See, that's why, you know, scholars and people of knowledge will say there couldn't have been a Jesus, Joseph, John 2,000 years ago. That letter didn't even exist. So people try to reverse engineer and say Yeshua, it'd probably be Yeshua, but we don't know. But people are so, you know, sure of themselves because people don't want to be wrong, you know. They latch onto a concept and they say, I'm going to be right and I'm going to debate this, even if I don't know 100% sure if it's true. So these are concepts. I'm not saying this is 100% true, you know, but there's a high probability that the Jesuits converted IESUS to Jesus, and now everyone uses that word. And I'm not like the word police, and I'm not a stickler for words. I don't care what words anyone uses. It's none of my business. This is just to educate and enlighten people, especially people that attack us and say, you know, you'll go to hell if you don't believe in Jesus and all these things. It's like they don't even say the right name, you know, the true name. And it's like, which one of us is going to hell? It's like, I've been to hell. I'm not impressed. Been there, done that, you know. It's none of my business. And by their, you know, these fundamentalists and these hypocrites, you know, these people that judge, that commit crimes against humanity, most of them, a lot of them, I know there's a lot of good Christians. I've had many Christian friends. I've had friends that were Catholic priests. But the problem with these religions, they were infiltrated by psychopathic people and sociopathic people. And that's the legal term. That's the professional term of these people that hurt children and that torture people because they have a different belief system. It's nonsense. People are waking up to this. You know, I'm here to unite religions, and some people hate that I get attacked every day because there's, you know, what are you, some kind of liberal? You know, it's like, whatever, you know, I don't care. I'm just here to teach. I'm here to put, you know, love into this world and to unite tribes, to unite nations, to unite people, consciousness, to bring harmony to this world. So these nefarious ones, these trolls, you know, they've all been infiltrated. You know, there's many light workers that have attacked me and my people over the years. You know, I say light workers because a true light worker wouldn't do that. But even our community, as you all know at this point, unless if you started today, that our community, but we don't focus on those negative people. We live our art, we live our life, we live from our heart, we live our passions and teach what we believe, you know, what's in our heart and what we see in our understanding. Because as you all know at this point, most people don't know anything. And I'm not being mean, it's just the truth. You know, before the scamdemic, I said, you know, the education system failed America. Now after that whole scam, I say the education system failed the world. And, you know, me and my people, you know, many of you, you know, will be teaching the new earth, the people, you know, the truth, you know, because it's really basic common knowledge, you know, that they don't even want people to know, they meaning these nefarious ones. And real quick, this whole thing about CERN, they say, you know, these people at CERN, the people pushing the fear-mongering, they're the ones that say they can open a portal to hell. They can't even open a portal to their toilet. Yeah, really, I'm not kidding. They spent $4 billion on this large hadron collider so they can, you know, hit little particles together and see like a mini Big Bang, but they can't. You know, whole portals are protected by our guardians, by our dragons, by our, you know, star nations, our higher dimensional beings, angels, whatever name you want to give to, you know, benevolent beings, you know, that love humanity, not these nefarious, false, fallen ones, whatever we want to give to these psychopaths, you know, that have brain damage, you know, that can't think straight, and all they can do is, you know, put out false propaganda, which, you know, in time, if need be, I'll expose all that too. I can't do that on this channel. They've already shut down a couple of my channels. They locked me out of my Council of Nine. I'll never get back in there. They demonetized Prime Disclosure, and this is just over the last few months. Over the years, they've shut down my channels. So I have to be careful what I say, even though we believe that all these nefarious things are being taken over by the benevolent ones. We'll see. They shut down, demonetized Prime Disclosure. As all of you know that follow my channel, my website was attacked. We got DDoS attacks. Like my IT guys, like I've never seen anything like this. One of the best IT guys, and they totally took it down. I lost like 3 years of work, thousands of hours, and this is really the only channel I have left that's monetized where I can try to make a living. So many of our supporters are on Patreon, so we're very grateful for all of you. We're just making enough to get by, but I love what I'm doing. I want to keep supporting all of you, so every support is greatly appreciated. So we've lost many of our supporters over the last several months again. They come in, they leave, and our channel got demonetized. So we're hanging in there, so we appreciate all of you that are hanging in there with us and that continue to support us. Like I tell you every day, we couldn't be doing this work without you. We make very little from YouTube monetization, and the rest comes in through Patreon pledges, our members on YouTube, and then donations. So between all that, we're surviving. Our divine dispensations will be coming in. I truly believe that all of our good people are going to be taken care of very soon. We don't know how soon. Everyone wants to know when. I don't have a crystal ball yet, so I know, but all the signs are there, all the synchronicities. You see all these things that we're looking at daily and that I put out daily are merely signs, symbols of the prophecies, of what we're seeing, of this great shift, this great awakening. So real quick before I bid you all adieu and then take you to the woods, my kitty's being very cute behind the camera. She's all curled up into a little ball, and she just made a little chirp sound. She's the cutest little kicky beans. So we know that around this time, 400 years ago, this letter I was converted to a J. And of course, our generations, the last 100 years, this is 400 years of pushing this, this Jesus narrative, of, that if you don't worship Jesus, IESUS Christos would never tell you to worship him. Believe me, I know him well, that just like myself, I would never want anyone worshiping me. If you're going to worship anything, worship your divine counterpart, your children, your family, God, source, creator. We don't worship any idols or saviors. You don't look outside yourself for truth. The truth is within you. That's what every master, that's what IESUS Christos taught, that the kingdom of heaven is within you. And I know a lot of fundamentalists will say, blasphemy, he didn't say that, this guy's evil, he's talking with the devil. They had to invent the devil. Want to know why? Because the nefarious ones could not take responsibility for their own actions, so they had to create some external being like a devil, a demon, a monster, to blame it on. The devil made me do it. No, you did it. Not you listening, but the one that was perpetrating these acts against. I have to be very careful what I say, because when you talk with the flow, I realize I speak into this camera, and on the other end, the energy, the words, the information emanates from and into the mind of our people. So I want to be very clear as I can. I say a lot of things in these daily transmissions. I have a lot to teach. I've trained over 51 years since the day I came in, and many traditions, many lineages, and I've taught for many years in dojos and temples and meditation halls. So when this letter, when they put this swerve on here, it corrupted the mind. The Jesuits were really the military, the enforcers of the Catholic Church, of the Vatican. And yes, they've sent, in my lifetime, they sent one of their minions after me to try to take me out, but they failed. I've trained in martial arts for most of my life. I was raised in great violence, so, they couldn't take me out physically, so they tried to take me out financially and mentally, with all these attacks. But I just laugh, we laugh our way to freedom because they're done. You know, one shaman I went to many years ago of our Ojibwe nation, when I was going through one of many dark nights of the soul, I was in my young 20s. So that was like my 500th dark night of the soul. I went to our Ojibwe people, to a medicine man for healing, and when he read my energy and read the bones, you know, I had an interpreter. You know, you see the Ojibwe were out east, where I lived most of my life, Ohio, but as the Europeans came in, they moved further north, into Canada, further north, you know, as the French and the British came into, you know, North America, up into Canada, you know, which is North America, but further, they went further. And this gentleman, this shaman, this beautiful angel of the light, Ojibwe people, I don't think he saw his first light-skinned person, I think he said, until he was like in his 40s. He didn't speak any English. He only spoke Ojibwe. So I had an interpreter, and he did a healing, and very powerful. And then everyone that did the healing that day did sweat lodge ceremony at night. And we had people from all walks of life, and some of his students. He was about 80 years old at that time, so he couldn't participate. He couldn't do the sweat lodge. You know, he was too old. And so his students, you know, his Ojibwe students, his initiates, you know, his apprentices did the ceremony. We had people from Africa. We had people, you know, there's probably about 15 people, some other people from Europe. A lot of, you know, people came for healing, and then the amazing sweat lodge. So when he read my energy, he just laughed and laughed, you know, because the masters and our elders of all our tribes knew who White Gold Eagle was even before I did. You see, they knew that I wouldn't have came into this realm if we were going to lose this battle, you know, if evil was going to triumph over good. Now there I'll use evil in that context to, you know, these nefarious ones that we say of the dark, you know, the family of dark, you know, we say, you know, the family of light, you know, our light nation, you know, light symbolizing the good, the benevolence, and the dark. You know, obviously dark's not bad, you know, what's day without night, night without day, but we're specifically talking about, you know, these people that, you know, it's coming out, you know, over these years, these nefarious people that have, you know, tortured our children, these human traffickers, these mafias of the world, these ones that monetize everything that causes human suffering, like these corporations like BlackRock and, you know, Vanguard. It's all being exposed, you know. We have some of our people that are exposing it, which maybe I'll get into in the future. We'll see what happens after this video. So this, last but not least here, so again, you know, the IESUS in time was converted to the J, the I to the J, which now people say Jesus, you know, which neither good nor bad, here nor there. I just want people to understand, you know, especially people that attack me and our people, maybe if they'll do some research and understand, you know, what happened, and they can see for themselves, you know, what the Jesuits did. Now, not all Jesuits are bad. I have Jesuit friends that are very brilliant, benevolent, kind beings, just like in the Freemasons. There's good people there, but these organizations got infiltrated by psychopaths, and then obviously they have their minions that are mind controlled, that are programmed by these beliefs. You know, you have Protestants killing Catholics, Catholics killing Protestants. Like, don't you people realize you're both Christian? What did your master teacher teach you? To love thy neighbor, you know, to be kind, to be compassionate, not to kill your neighbor because they had a different belief. It's total nonsense, which all of you know. I'm preaching to the choir at this point, but I hope people that come to this channel that you know, that might judge me, that try to attack me and try to curse me with this nonsense belief, you know, that they maybe will get a little understanding if they watch more than 5 seconds of my videos. Maybe they'll understand that I come from, you know, kindness, from goodness to transform this realm in a positive way, just like all of you that support my sacred condor and I. and our work and our mission. And some of you have been with me over 10 years, and we have a very beautiful, very amazing community here that you can see in the comments over the years, that many of our angels have supported us and show up to every day, you know, to our daily transmissions and leave beautiful comments, send us, you know, beautiful messages, send us, you know, help us financially. You know, it's very important because we're grassroots. We have a small channel, even though I've been on here 12 years and have over 4,000 videos of it, you know, 35,000 subscribers, very tiny, you know, to, you know. So what would help us is leaving comments in our videos, sharing every video every day on social media. That'll get our messages out to more people and help us to be able to continue this work. So I know these are very challenging times, especially financially for many of our people. It's challenging for us too, but we're almost through this. We're navigating through these final days of these control systems, and it's coming out every day. You know, the dark ones, the false ones, the nefarious beings, these psychopaths are being exposed, especially, you know, in the last few weeks. We're seeing so many things coming out. I know some people, it's distractions. Well, then turn off the internet if it's bringing you down. You know, go out to nature if it's bringing you down. But don't let these things get to you. You know, live from your heart. You know, live your beauty, live your art. You know, that's why we're here. You know, to bring beauty to this world, to bring kindness, to bring love, you know, for God is love, God is truth. That's the I am presence, you know, that Yeshua taught. You know, I'll sometimes use Yeshua because it's kind of fun, but I normally say IESUS, you know, because that is benevolent, that's lifting the spirit. You know, and if people use Jesus in a compassionate, kind way, and just say Jesus loves you, not like you need Jesus or you're going to go to hell, all these things, you know, you're a sinner, you know, because you're a human, you know, all these negative things, you know, don't take that clip and put it up. You know, that's what people do, take a little clip and say that Paul said this. It's like out of context. It's what the minions do and the trolls, you know, that try to attack our work, but we give them no power. We give them no energy. You know, we have thick skins. We say, so be it. You know, our mantra is none of my business. It's none of my business what anyone thinks or believes. You know, I just ignore the attacks. I ignore, you know, they get under people's skin. You know, to me, it's like a mosquito. You know, I don't love or hate them. I don't, you know, they're a pain in the neck. You know, it's like shoe fly, you know, like you got to think of like a little mosquito trying to suck your blood. It's like, you're not going to go to war against mosquitoes. It's just like, leave me alone, you know, brush it off, move on, you know. I know we're very sensitive. We feel everything. It's like, I don't enjoy being, you know, attacks and all these things, but it is what it is. You put yourself out there, there's people that attack you, you know, they don't like what's different, you know, what's interesting. They don't like that people, you know, are putting out knowledge. You know, some people are afraid of knowledge, of truth. That's why they turn everything good into bad and bad into good, you know, especially in Hollywood and all these, you know, music industries that are all owned by these big corporations like BlackRock or Vanguard. You know, that, you know, they keep the propaganda going. You know, just like most governments in the world, you know, these people that control the governments, these mafias, you know. Gerald Celente called them white shoe mafias. They don't need to go out and, you know, shoot up a bar or something. Sometimes they do, but now they just use nefarious systems like Wall Street and the banking industry. We all know the Babylonian debt slavery system is done. It's over. You know, the quantum financial systems, these quantum systems, you know, that work in benevolence are soon going to be introduced to the public and to free humanity from these things. And they're not to be worshipped. You know, people, why are you saying, you know, don't worry about all that, the minutia and all these concepts and the fear-mongering. It's we put our heart into whatever's going to help humanity, what's going to lift humanity, what's going to raise us and elevate us. This is the ascension. We support everything that is honorable. You see, we're here to deal with the nihilism, you know, the nihilistic, which means unmoral, they're trying to destroy morality, you know, and integrity. They're trying to destroy religions, you know, by implanting, you know, nefarious beings. It's like, we all know this, and it's not the religion's fault. You know, I'm not here to say join a religion or join a cult. You know, I get accused of being in a cult, or, you know, I'm a solitary being. It's just I just enjoy spending my time with my family, my wife and children, my sacred condor, you know, my beloved counterpart. You know, we live a simple life, you know, and we try to bring, you know, our knowledge and our love and our compassion, our joy, our bliss to all of you in our transmissions, our teaching. My sacred condor's music. She does a weekly transmission on Patreon, and we're working on a guided meditation for this eclipse. I hope to get that out soon. It's just very limited on time, so I'm doing the best I can. We're doing a lot of work here and doing everything we can for this mission, for this ascension, to help, you know, be a part. You know, we're doing this together. We're all in this together. We're all in this ascension together, this, whatever you call it, the great awakening, rapture, you know, and we have legions of light, you see. The nefarious ones are done. You know, our legions are here with us now. Our legions of benevolent beings, our angelic legions, you know, we're all protected, you know, so try to stay out of the fear. Know that you are loved very much, and that you are protected, and that you got this. You know, we got this. We got this together. We got this mission of full planetary liberation. My cat's eyes are glowing. She's so beautiful. She just stares at me sometimes when I talk, and I just look in her eyes and see such beauty, the spirit, you know, of God, the Holy Spirit coming through this beautiful creature. She's very precious to my goddess, myself, and our children. We're raising 3 children, a daughter and 2 sons, you know, so that's my joy too, is our family. You know, the new earth is about family and kinship, you know, our kin's domains, you know, our sacred communities, you know. So that'll come in time. We're here to help shift this into the positive timeline, into the ascension timeline. So thank you all very much. I'm going to take you all to the woods now and give another short little talk. Thank you for sticking this out with me. Thank you all for your support. Have a most beautiful, blessed eclipse, and be sure to look for our special solar eclipse meditation we'll be putting out publicly within the next few days. The eagle and the condor love you all. Namaste. Aho. Thank you for hanging in there with us through this presentation. I want to take a little break and explain a couple things. After recording this presentation and contemplating what I taught, I can see that many people will be confused or don't understand what I'm teaching. I'd like to interject here for just a moment, a few minutes here before I take you out to the woods and transmit powerful owl medicine energies, and this energy of the total solar eclipse in Aries will continue in this very powerful portal. So as starseeds of the new earth, most of you understand, you know, as a warrior, spiritual warrior of the light, we question everything that has been projected upon us. Ever since I was a little child, I questioned everything, especially those concepts and information that the dark ones try to force down our throats. You know, this information, this programming that they try to force upon us in our minds and in our thought forms. So I'm here to expose and reveal these things that have been projected upon us. So, and understanding, you see, I question everything, not to be rebellious or to be right, but to understand. I really wanted to understand where people were coming from, understand how we got to where we are today, understand all things, you know. I question everything to get a deeper knowledge, a deeper understanding. You know, this is the knowledge, you know. When I was a child, all I cared about was freedom and the truth. All this other dogma, all this other nonsense, false information projected upon us was something that we reveal, we heal, we expose through knowledge. You see, knowledge is power. So in questioning everything, you know, leads us down through these infinite rabbit holes, you know, to expose the nefarious nature behind these lies and propagandas. And we see how people do heinous acts, tyrannical acts based on ideologies, based on belief systems. You know how many people have murdered people in the name of religion, in the name of Jesus, you know, because they were lied to, they were propagandized. You think IESUS Christos would want you to murder in his name? No, not at all. That was lies, you see. People, once they're lied to and once people believe the dogma, believe the ideology and take these spiritual teachings literally, they can be controlled and manipulated to do heinous acts. You see, that's why we're here to reveal it, not to destroy things, not to damage anything, but to heal, to transform. We're not here to annihilate the matrix. We are here to transform, to heal. We're here to heal religions because, as I said in my presentation, as most of you know now, it's not the problem. The religion is not the problem. It's psychopaths and nefarious entities, nefarious consciousness. We call malevolent beings, malevolent entities, be it humans or non-physical, whatever. But the physical beings, you see, we all have the power within us to be sovereign, conscious co-creators of the new earth, to be benevolent beings, to protect the children, to care for our elders and our people. You see, that's why through truth we can do this, and through knowledge we can work together cohesively, coherently. So this is part of what I was teaching, you know, part of why does it matter? You know, we say, why does it matter? Because of these things. It's creating a disharmony. You see, people curse people, tell them they go to hell based on what they believe or what they don't believe, which, as you know, is total nonsense. You know, the Great Spirit, Source Creator, we call the still white magnetic light at the center of all things, does not care what anyone believes. What matters more is our actions, what's in our heart, how we treat each other, how we treat people, how we treat nature, you know, all these things. And you see in Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, hell to us, to people that know the truth, we see hell as a state of mind. You know, we say the angry demon, you know, this is anger, you know, negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative emotions. So with our teachings and with our knowledge and with our spiritual meditative practices, our hope is to heal your body, heal your mind, heal your spirit, to transform yourself into the avatar of light that you truly are, an infinite multi-dimensional being of infinite light. So I hope this knowledge, this Gnosis, has helped you on your journey. And now we're going to take you into the woods for a very special transmission. Have a most beautiful, blessed day. Namaste. Namaste, beloved beings of light. I'm here again at this very beautiful portal here in Washington. I'm surrounded by beautiful mountains and this beautiful little valley here. I'm going to do this video in several sections and put it together on the computer for all of you. We're about 10 days out of this recording for this total solar eclipse in Aries coming up April 8th. So I wanted to put out a special video. This will be the last video until the eclipse of this kind, of this special talk. I plan on also putting out very soon, in the next few days, a special guided meditation for all of you for this special occasion of this powerful solar eclipse. Over the next couple of weeks, few weeks, a lot of revelations are going to be coming out. It's going to be coming in hot and heavy for all of us here on the new earth. So I want you to be prepared mentally, physically. You know, this is a time of self-care, of being in the heart, quieting the mind. Right now, in this beautiful portal, my mind is empty. It is clear. See, we call this the clear light of bliss. You see, Zen Master Bankei always taught that all beings are born perfectly awakened Buddhas. You see, there's nothing to attain, only to realize your true nature. And by birth, he did not mean into this physical vessel. Although when you look into the eyes of a child, a newborn baby, you're looking into pure awareness. You're looking into the eyes of God. It's a reflection of yourself in that pure, unfiltered, unbiased awareness we call pure awareness or Buddha mind. You see, Buddha mind is the eternal mind. It is pure consciousness itself. It's what you may call God, source, creator, or you could simply say love or truth. Let me talk a few minutes here about the path of this totality of the eclipse. It will be moving through North America and through the United States. I put out the video the other day, about 2 hours long, about the symbolisms, synchronicities, and many different things of this powerful eclipse. And you see my family, most of my family still in Ohio. This totality will be moving through Cleveland. As if you follow this channel, I've talked about the 216 area code. I lived most of my life, many years, over 40 years in this area code called Lakewood, zip code 44107. The 216, the 6 times 6 times 6. This is no coincidence. I'm feeling the energy all around me here. It's a beautiful day. We have a lot of powerful energy. So in this portal, we call Lakewood, Ohio. It's a suburb of Cleveland. I've spent a lot of time on the lake. We have Lake Erie there. Now, if you're in Ohio by Cleveland, for this eclipse, I would suggest going to Lakewood Park. That's in the 216 area code, but 44107, Lakewood, Ohio. On the lake there, right on the lake, the city of Lakewood built several years back, put about 250,000 or more into these, what they call the solstice steps. The solstice, it's on the lake, it faces where the solstice, where the sun sets on solstice. And you'll see the steps are like massive concrete, like steps for a giant. And most nights you go there, at sunset, you'll have a crowd of people, a group, and there'll be people from all nations all over the world. You'll see many different breeds of dogs and many interesting things. This is a very powerful portal. Many people, I'm sure, will be gathering there for the eclipse. So it'll be I spent a little time there before I left Cleveland, and I realized I saw in this portal, on the evening I went there, was like the new earth. Many different cultures, many different language people playing, laughing, singing, performing. You see, the people watch. It's the most beautiful view of the sun setting over the lake. And you'll see many different nights, many beautiful things. So I'd suggest going there if you're in the area, joining many of our brothers and sisters of the light, our bro Thors and sisters of the new earth in this celebration. You see, this is going to be a catalyst. This eclipse, as you all know, is a catalyst for our great awakening, our great shift, our event energies. See, this will help push us into a critical mass. We're already at critical mass. We're at the precipice of this great awakening, or we call the event rapture. It goes by many names. So in this path through Lakewood, you'll see some amazing things if you join our people there. My queen and I will be anchoring into the new earth in this Pacific Northwest area, the energy of the eagle and the condor in divine union. Heros Gamos, the sacred marriage, beyond time and space. So wherever you are right now in this world, we have people all over the earth. You know, people watching this video right now, you are stationed, our starseed earth angelics of the 144 are stationed exactly where you need to be for the event, for this great shift, for the ascension. You're in a very special portal. Where you are right now listening to this video is a very sacred space on the dragon lines, the ley lines, we call the song lines, goes by many names. It's the sacred energetic meridians of Mother Earth. You know, they're mirrored within our body. We have the meridians that flow through our sacred vessels. These are like the ley lines of Earth. So where you are now is a very special place. It's where you are stationed. It's where you're anchoring in the highest light through your sacred vessel. You know, this physical body is the body of the Christos Sophia. It's the body of the Christ, the Christed ones, meaning living from the heart, being a real human being, at one with God. This is the atonement. Realizing your oneness with all life, with Source, and all of creation. You cannot separate from what you created. You know, together we create this, what we call reality, or we say this realm of energy. It's a quantum field. And we're affecting with every act, with every thought, with every action, with every feeling. We affect the whole field, the whole quantum field of the multiverse, not just this universe, but all universes of the infinite multiverse, with every thought and feeling, emotion, energy. And we contribute, you know, we contribute with our compassion, with our kindness, with our love. We contribute, we collaborate in the energies of this vortex, of the spiral of the new earth energies. So this is why we hold our visions, hold the light, you know, hold the line, we say. Hold our visions. We keep the light shining bright in our heart. See, bright virtue is the mind of God, the mind of Buddha, the Buddha mind. It's the bright virtue. So beyond all concepts. All concepts are merely tools to point the finger to truth. You know, we call truth God, Source, Creator. So no matter what you experience in these coming days, try to stay in your heart, try to stay present. Use your breath, your sacred breath, deep breaths. In and out the nose. Oxygen is very important for the body. You know, stay present, stay aware, feel into your body. I know this archonic energy tries to pull you into the past or pull you into the future to get you out of this present. You see, we free ourselves from the simulation, from the matrix, with our awareness. With our pure presence that is here now in this body where I always am. It's a beautiful thing. Being here now. You are never alone because there is no separation. There is only one consciousness, one mind that's experienced itself in the infinite, the multidimensionality, you know, the separation, the duality came from the one still white magnetic light at the center of all things that divided itself into infinite pieces, parts, fractals, whatever name you'd like to give to the aspects, the infinite aspects of self. So we feel into this now, we stay present, we use our breath as a tool. We breathe in the chi, the heavenly chi, the prana, the ki, the energy. We're breathing energy. Our bodies, our light bodies are being activated It's very intense, very powerful today. We have many solar flares after yesterday's X class. We have multiple C, multiple M. All these are flowing, flooding this realm with higher dimensional gamma plasma waves of awakened light. The adamantine light is indestructible, diamond light. Of your true nature, we say Buddha mind. Very simple. Buddha means awakened one. The awakened oneness within that experiences of oneness without. This is divine union. This is the way, the truth, and the life. The way into the kingdom of heaven within, so we mirror it externally. So on this day going forward, let us stay in this present moment, being aware, being conscious, awake. We have an owl calling to us, sacred owl, the wise ones, the wisdom, these beautiful winged nations. It's very still today, very calm, very quiet, calm before the storm. We'll go into the presence, breathe into the body, let go, let go, let go. We smile, smile, smile. Ground, ground, ground. There's our owl friend again. Transmitting the owl medicine, just wisdom, truth, knowledge. So no matter what happens, whatever rises in consciousness, be it anger, fear, allow it to move through you, allow yourself to feel it, and then allow yourself to let it go. Our bodies are like tuning forks for Great Spirit. We're feeling our way through these shifting times, these changing times. We say unprecedented because this has never happened in eternity. What we're experiencing and going through now, what we're sharing in, what we're assisting in, this collective awakening, this collective enlightenment, we say collective rainbow body experience, a full illumination, full awakening, as perfectly awakened Buddhas that we have always been. There she is again. Beautiful owl nation surround us here in this sacred portal. We're grateful for all of our guides and totems and spirit animals, angelic beings that surround us here. This beautiful life of light. Have a most beautiful, blessed, sacred eclipse activation, solar eclipse in Aries celebration. Namaste. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for sticking out with us and following us through to the end of this very special teaching, transmission, and Dharma talk. I wanted to finish this up with some information that has come to me since the recording of these videos. A couple days ago, I spoke to my mother, Mary Jo, named after her parents, Mary and Joseph. That I spoke to her. She's still anchoring the lights and the codes in Cleveland, Ohio, in the 216 area code. You know, the 6 times 6 times 6. And those that follow my channel know I talked about the Hell House, this red house right in the middle of 216. She told me when I spoke to her that she has changed the color of this house from red to green blue. So we're seeing this shift from the red to the blue. This is very good news. This is a miracle, actually. And I talked to her about this eclipse in my video. I talked about, going to the solstice stairs in Lakewood Park. She told me that they're posting signs all over Lakewood now that you'd have to get there very early, that along this trajectory of the solar eclipse, people that live there, they're warning that you probably don't want to leave your house. Millions of people are going to be coming to this area. And she said there's some big events going on in Cleveland, downtown Cleveland, and that they've posted signs at Lakewood Park that there's probably going to be no parking. You have to drive in, and that the traffic is going to be insane. So you probably aren't going to want to go to these areas if you're like me, go to nature. But if you still do, just be cautious, arrive early, maybe get a ride. And just know that, she was saying even like parking, it starts at $50 an hour in Cleveland just for this event. So millions of people, there's going to be huge crowds. So if you don't like crowds, I would avoid all of those areas. I just wanted to give you this quick update before I edit these videos, upload them to YouTube. I just want to let you know that you probably want to stay away from these main high traffic areas, especially Cleveland and that. But if you don't mind the crowds and lots of people, I still would recommend, if you can get to Lakewood Park, you're going to see some pretty wild, amazing things there on Lake Erie. It's going to be very airy. So, and Erie Ferry, a lot of that going on too, as people are celebrating this eclipse. There's going to be some intense, powerful energy. If you want to, use this energy, help utilize this energy to, assist you in your ascension journey and your ascension process, you can do so. But myself, I'll probably be going to the woods by myself, or doing ceremony with my sacred condor at the height of this eclipse on the 8th of April. So if you'd like to continue your research or further your studies on some of these things I discussed in today's presentation, of course, read Anatoly Fomenko's books, history, fact, or fiction. But I also highly recommend, it's one of my favorite books in my library, a book by a PhD philosopher of science and cosmology. His name's David Fiedler. It's called Jesus Christ, Son of God, not S-O-N, but S-U-N. And in this book, David translates the New Testament from the Greek into gematria. And what unfolds is a beautiful story. He shows how, based on the gematria, converting to the letters to numbers, this beautiful array of sacred geometry unfolds. You'll see some beautiful imagery, some beautiful patterns unfold. You see the ancient Gnosis, when they encoded these messages with gematria, that's the true story, the hidden meanings of these ancient texts. And you'll see the beauty that comes out of this, very simple, very into the very complex too of some of the sacred geometry and some of the beautiful teachings of the mythos, coming out of these teachings. So I highly recommend that book. I'll also put that in the link in the description below. You see, I want to make it very clear also that our history, when we look at history in this hour of teaching that I put out, an hour or less, barely even scratching the tip of the iceberg. And as we know, over many, many years of studying history, reading thousands of books, we realize that most of history, most of written history or known history has been destroyed, either through disasters. Some of it was destroyed by cultures. When a new empire was formed, they destroyed the books, the teachings of the past, the history of the cultures that were from that area. So most of this history, as we know, has been destroyed, some of it hidden, some of it just in time, was destroyed either by natural disasters or by other humans. You see, and with thousands, tens of thousands of history books, this is just a very small, maybe 1 to 5-10% of written history is contained in our books today. So we know that at least, guessing 90 to 95, maybe 99% of history has been destroyed or disappeared in time. So no matter what we know, we still only know a very small portion of history. So one of the things, as I've opened up these rabbit holes into this Christian mythos and the New Testament and the history of Christianity, what was revealed through the changing of this name, the main character, the savior of this story, of this mythos of the New Testament, this who people now call Jesus, when we traveled back in time. You see, we won't know true history until we can invent a time machine, but we can tap into the Akash and use our own discernment to believe what we want to believe. No one can force it upon you. So my conclusion, after researching many, many years, 30 years or more, just this one subject, I've studied many things, but it keeps coming back to this over time. Because history keeps changing, especially with the Mandela effect. We're saying, okay, things in the past, even the Bible are changing. So we're saying, okay, history is not something as tangible as we thought. It's not as linear as we thought. So my conclusion, one of my conclusions, many, is like, why did they change the name? Why? The main character of the story, of this legend, of this book, the New Testament, why would they change the name? Because, some people say, well, in translation, I know things get lost in translation, but let me give you one example. If we're translating, say, the story, if this is true history of, say, Pablo Picasso from, say, German or French into English, we're going to translate all the words that we can. Obviously, there's some words that you can't translate, that they lose meaning when you try to translate. So we try to describe it based on other words. So one thing that you do not change in history, true history books, is the name of the main character. Say Pablo Picasso, the painter. Even if we translate all the words into English, we're not going to translate Pablo to Paul. You see? Does that make sense? If we use logic, intellect, intelligence, we say, what was the reason? Why would they do such a thing? Why would we wouldn't change Pablo to Paul, because his name wasn't Paul, it was Pablo. Doesn't matter if it's Paul in English, we're going to keep it Pablo. So that was what kept coming up over and over, like, why would they do that if this is a true history? And that's the big question mark. That's the big question mark. Tens of thousands of hours Anatoly Fomenko put into researching this. It's like, because of the debate, one of the debates among scholars, on both sides, pro and con, the debate is, did this being live? Was there a real human being that lived, that, who we call Jesus Christ? Was there this Yeshua? Was there this, in physical matter? I know a lot of symbolism, esoteric, and people might ask me, and I say, I don't know. And I've read hundreds and hundreds of books, and the question keeps going. The deeper down the rabbit hole, the bigger the question mark. So we realize that we don't know. Although it is irrelevant, once you realize and understand the true teachings of Christianity, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, because religion is to connect you to God. And what the teachings of all spiritual traditions, all religions say, you don't need a middleman. The masters of the, say Buddha or Yeshua, IESUS, would teach, that these teachings lead you to God, that this is, you don't need a middleman. You don't need a priest. You don't need a savior. You don't need all these things, because you are one with God. That's what all the teachings truly teach. When you look at the truth behind all religions, it's I am, that you are one with God, that you don't need to go through anything, anyone, any concept, any being, that you have a direct link, and that's with your mind and your heart. When you put your heart and your awareness into the love of the I Am presence, you realize that God is the I Am presence, that God is pure awareness, that God is love, God is truth, God is light. You see, and this is where they all lead. So in this why would, these people, these entities, change, the ones that were translating it, say the churches, or say the historians, or say whomever, the Jesuits, whoever was behind changing the name of the main character, the savior, the master teacher from IESUS. And there's several reasons potentially come up. Was it nefarious? Was it to bring down the frequency? Was it to follow a certain narrative? What narrative were they projecting? And with any event, any false flag, any manipulation, propaganda, they never do it for one reason. It's always, accomplish 100 things. Any false flag, they say, why did they do this? Why did they, create this false flag? It wasn't for one reason. They accomplish 100 things, 1,000 things. There's multiple agendas. That's why Anatoly Fomenko realized when he looked at these calendars, everything was convoluted, everything was twisted, manipulated. So it's very hard to discern, what is true and what is false, what is fact, what is fiction. Because another thing that the ancients did, or through time and modern, most of our history books now really only cover the last 500, 800, 1,000. I know some of our history books go back 2,000, 2,500, up to maybe 3,000 years, but most of the books cover, maybe the last 500 to 1,000 years. And in time, we know, the written history, many of the libraries, like Library of Alexandria, was burnt down, and that held manuscripts, parchments, you see, because in time, in the ancient histories, they didn't have paper. They inscribed, inscriptions on, say, stone, leather, metal, other material, and then over time, they created like papyrus, like the Library of Nag Hammadi, but papyrus didn't hold up over time. It would, disintegrate, unless it was preserved properly. So these manuscripts got destroyed in time, and some of it was, man-made, as I said. Some of it was through maybe floods, through fires, through all these things. And so, we're very limited on, true history. So we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together as best as we can. So there's a lot of questions that rise up. So we know that through time, that a lot of these things got manipulated and changed. Legends became real. Myths became, people took literally, and then did heinous acts because of them. So that's why we're resolving these things so that history doesn't repeat itself. So one of the things that Anatoly discovered was when some cultures took on the meanings, the teachings, the histories of other cultures, and they merged it with their culture. And a lot of times they created their own timeline, or own calendar based on someone else's culture. And what happened was a lot of what they believed was their history was actually rewritten and fit into their timeline. So a lot of these we think are different timelines, or different times of this linear time. They were actually stories from other cultures that were integrated into their culture. And, the names were changed, the places, the dates, all these things. And then people took them literally. And so that's why history is very confusing and convoluted. So again, read Anatoly Fomenko's books, and David Fideler, Jesus Christ, Son of God. It's a book about cosmology, sacred geometry, gematria. It's an amazing book, and it'll open your mind to some of these ancient teachings and what the symbolism, the synchronicities and the beauty behind them, because we look at the beauty in these ancient cultures and these ancient arts so that we can resolve these in this timeline. So some may ask, what does it matter? Why do you care? I feel that because of our ascension and millions of people out there cursing people because of their belief, because of their or non-belief, belief or non-belief, people condemn people to hell. That is a type of a curse. And I'll tell you a quick little story about symbolizing what I'm trying to project here or promote. Not manipulate. You see, we teach by knowledge. There's an old story, an ancient story about the missionaries in North America, a missionary that was going throughout the Native American tribes teaching Christianity. And this missionary went to the chief of a tribe, and he was teaching about the teachings of Jesus Christ. And he was teaching about how, Jesus is the Savior, and how, if you don't believe in Jesus, you'll burn in hell. And the chief said, interesting, what is this hell thing? And it's like the missionary, it's this fiery pit where your soul is tortured for eternity. And the chief was like, that is horrible. Why would this happen? Well, because, if you don't believe in the Savior, you're a sinner, and you're condemned to hell. And the chief asked him, well, what if I never heard of this Jesus character? What if you didn't tell me about him? Well, they said, well, of course you wouldn't burn in hell if you didn't know. And the chief looked at him and he said, well, thank you very much for condemning me to hell. You see, it's ridiculous and nonsense that God, Great Spirit, Creator, would condemn someone to hell, to some hellish state for believing or not believing. See, that's a tool of manipulation and control. You see, I never believed in that concept of hell. To the Buddhists, to the Taoists, hell symbolizes us a state of suffering, a mind state. We say angry demon, these demons that these manipulators talk about. It to us, it's, to people of the way, of the truth. This is just symbolizing these negative emotions that make people do evil things, what we call evil, nefarious things. It's the anger, the fear, of course, fear. We say the frightened animal or the hungry ghost, the desire of never having enough, the greed, all these things that cause humans to do such negative, nefarious, evil things, you might say. So we see, once they create these concepts that cannot be proven, these invisible things, such as demons, devils, hells, then when someone believes that, then they have control of their mind. This is indoctrination. And we see through these ideologies, people do insane, heinous things. And it could be religious ideologies. It could be political ideologies. It doesn't matter. Whatever tools these psychopaths and sociopaths use to manipulate the mind of humanity. We say the mind of the human mind, which is the limited mind, but your true mind, your Buddha mind, is infinite, untouchable, eternal, and the most powerful. That's true power, pure awareness. So thank you for joining me in this powerful transmission teaching. Let us know in the comments, your perspective, any information you might have, and any perspectives of, this eclipse and what I taught through these videos. So thank you all very much. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to support us and help us continue bringing videos to the world like this, you can support us at our link at egolovecondor.com. Have a most beautiful, blessed, auspicious, total solar eclipse in Aries, the most beautiful ascension journey. Namaste. Aho.